All right. There we go. There we go. Make sure we're all up and running. Go. HD, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you. I'm just getting the thumbnail set up. Nice will be here shortly. I just told him I'd start a little bit earlier without him since he was running an errand. Solverin, what's going on? There we go. Close that down. How's everybody doing? TH, what's up, else? Not much, man. How are you? I hope you're well. We have some fun topics to talk about this week. Hopefully not. Oh, there it is. Hey, what's up?
What up?
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Viral, what's going on? Ashes of Relation. Welcome in.
Hello, everyone.
I just started, so I told him
Perfect.
I told him you were running errands and you'll be here shortly, so I was not lying.
Bet. I'll be right back. I'm gonna set my stream up.
Okay.
It's literally gonna be like 1 minute.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and click live and be good.
All right, sounds good. The Hidden Dagger Inn. What's going on? How are you? All right, so you guys heard it. We're about a minute away from starting here, so. All right. Make sure everything's working over on the Twitch end. Looks like we are. Viral, good to see you, man. Thank you for the follow, Hidden Dagger Inn. Appreciate it. All right. So let me check through the list of what we have for topics today. I don't know if we're going to make it through all of them. You guys know how it is. Sometimes it gets a little hectic. So I did the Valentine's Day giveaway. We already talked about that last week. Looks like Nice linked the Lineker post on the debunking misconceptions. And then I thought there was an interesting discussion on esports. And we have a topic about AI reps with Blizzard. So yeah, on top of all the other normal shenanigans. So I got some fun ones. I'm excited to get in the esports discussion. So super uncreative and couldn't think of anything good compared to what was out there. What are you talking about? You're super uncreative for what? Oh, the Valentine's quotes. Oh, I didn't even see what the other ones were. Let me see. I know I posted mine in the Ashes Discord. I don't know if they were creative or not. Let me. I'll pull up the ones that I got if I can here. Okay, so let me go into the ad. And yeah, obviously, if I win it, we will be doing a giveaway. At least that's kind of the idea. So, come on.
All right, all right. I am here.
There we go.
Get stream chat pulled up.
I'm just going to open up all the chat windows for. I'll appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
HD, Fox, Steven, how you guys doing?
What's the competition? Sawman, they had a Valentine's Day competition. If you made an Ashes of Creation related Valentine's Day heart message, like you could potentially win a free Alpha 2 key. But that's over now, so now we have to wait and see who the winner is. And I hope it's going to be me. So
I don't know. I think one of mine's is really good.
I liked your first one.
Yeah.
Let's see if I get in here.
Okay, just posted it in my Discord and we'll be good.
They don't celebrate Valentine's Day in England. They don't celebrate love in England. It's crazy.
Damn.
Sorry.
All right, let's get the cam going.
Peon, what's going on, dude? Have no fear. The Peon is here. You may start now. Yep, we're going to be starting here shortly.
All right. I think I'm good to go. What about you?
I'm ready. I'm ready, man. It's been like 6 days since we've done this.
Crazy. All right. Let's do a proper introduction. Welcome to the Voices of Verra live stream / podcast with Is There No One Else and myself, Nice Gaming. Appreciate you guys being here. We couldn't do this without you, the Voices of Verra. And we got a lot of stuff scheduled to talk about as per usual while we're in the waiting room for Ashes of Creation. And we appreciate you guys waiting with us to make the wait go by just a little bit smoother.
What is it, 138 days now? But who's counting?
Who's counting? Who's counting? All right.
Oh.
How you doing, Sugar?
Chibi. What's going on, Chibi?
Is that the OP cleric, Chibi?
I think it is. I think it's the one and only. Chibi with the raid of a party of 10. Thank you so much, Chibi. And Vertec. What's going on, guys? How was your stream tonight? Valentine, good to see you. Welcome in, everybody.
Fox says, I want to save the hype for official launch. And also, I think you'll guys test everything I want to see. Oh, for sure. And that's going to be the cool thing about, when this game is live and we do this podcast or we live stream is, anyway, especially for people who don't have Alpha 2 access, we're going to be able to test things for you guys. Like, hey, what does that do? Can you explain this? Or, hey, go over there, It's not, and I've said this before, but it's not like when we watch Steven play some pre-recorded thing, we're going to be able to say, we're going to be able to respond to you guys and be like, hey, go over there. Rather than just watching some pre-recorded thing, you get to have that live interaction. It makes a good thing. LOL 1 actions per minute, Steven. Dude, I was cracking up in Discord where DA pointed out that Steven actually clicks his abilities. You tab target enjoyers know what I mean. Where like he literally takes, like he's doing right now in the footage, literally right now in the footage in the background, hovering over the ability and clicking on it. It's actually hilarious. But what did he say that one time? He doesn't want to overwhelm you guys watching, so he has to slow down his APM. So
that's exactly what I say when I'm posting my outnumbered clips. I'm like, hey, the game plays this way because I'm doing it for you, not
exactly.
I'm just playing.
All right. So if you guys aren't aware, Is There No One Else was a guest for the 3v3 a couple of content creators and members of the Ashes of Creation community. I was originally selected for it, but I felt like Else would be a much better fit for the debate. And it was the good old attackers versus defenders debate that's been going around.
Wow. I'm sorry, Nice. Real quick. Viral just gifted 5 subs. Thank you so much, Viral. Appreciate it.
Viral, let's go.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Welcome in, everybody.
Yes.
But yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
Four from how you doing? How you doing? Wildfire, welcome on in. Glad you can catch us live. How you doing, Magisto? He said nobody over here for me to gift. Yeah, I don't think we got too many on Twitch right now. So yeah, so there was the good old classic attackers versus defenders debate. Obviously, we've been talking about this for a while. Else actually just produced another video today on the subject. I was listening to as I was driving. We're a little bit late today because I had court, and it was, oh my gosh. I was just sitting there for 2.5 hours. Little random tangent here, but 2.5 hours, like my little talking with the judge slash sentencing for just a little traffic ticket, by the way. 30 seconds. I waited 2.5 hours for a 30-second thing. Like, yep, your fine is this. I was like, thank you, and then paid, and I left. Sitting there for two and a half hours.
That's so frustrating.
It's so frustrating. It makes me remember, like, I was sitting there thinking about, because you can't bring your phone into court, right?
Yep.
The 90s, when everybody didn't have a cell phone in their pocket, and so like you were just, when you were waiting somewhere or just sitting somewhere, you just were just sitting there alone with your thoughts, just you're just there. There's nothing to, like, no social media to scroll, nothing to like play on your phone, just you're just sitting there just waiting, and it's just like, ugh. Like, I make jokes about our generation needing their phones, but when I was sitting there for 2.5 hours waiting for my name to be called, it was just like, all right, yep. Nice as a hardened criminal. Yeah, they brought me to court for robbing someone's caravan. They said, you took all this without risking anything, and so I had to go on trial, you guys.
And then you paid a fine.
Yeah, the Valentine's Day giveaway, dude. I'm excited. I hope one of mine gets selected. I like a couple of mines, but one of them especially. Ashes of Relation says, I don't think Ellis is very passionate about the attacker slash defender debate. He needs to make some more videos on it. Yeah, I don't think he's gotten his point across. I don't think there's enough math supporting his arguments yet.
So
how you doing, Vern?
To be fair, guys, like it's tough to do a YouTube video about math. Like, it's just not going to catch the algorithm. And so I try to cheat the system by breaking it up into pieces. And yeah, like, I mean, it was like 60 minutes worth of video. Like, I could have done it all in one video, but then it would have been an hour-long video. And maybe people like that, but it was quite a bit.
Turning on the light in the car is illegal. Oh yeah, I heard that was just like an urban myth, apparently. All right. So what do we want to discuss first today?
Well, no major sporting events happened this weekend, so we can go.
Yes, perfect.
We can go and we can talk about one of the subjects that we have. We could continue the topic that we had this weekend, or whatever. It's up to you.
Let's talk about. There was a recent dev discussion, or like a dev topic they brought up on esports.
Yes.
Which we can probably start with that. If you guys didn't see, the developers were talking about esports and their place in Ashes of Creation. What do you expect to see out of Ashes of Creation, everything like that? And with esports, there's winners and losers. You can be a loser. Like, is there no one else who picked the 49ers for the Super Bowl? I thought he was going to beat my Chiefs.
I did not pick the 49ers. I've been a 49ers fan since I was a kid. Thank you very much. So
yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So like, his team lost, my team won, and it was a good time. So I get like gloating, obnoxious rights for at least 1 week is the rules.
Yeah, it'll probably last for a while. It was a good game. That's all I'm gonna say. It's very rare you get an overtime Super Bowl game, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool. It went down to the wire, last play of the game. That was awesome. It just wasn't the outcome I was hoping for, which happens. So, but yeah, I'll take going to the Super Bowl it's way better to lose in the Super Bowl than it is to lose before, not make the playoffs, than to lose in the playoffs. Like if you're gonna lose anywhere along the way, like losing the Super Bowl is the best. So
very true. No first round exits.
Oh man, we got a Ram fan in here. Okay, I'm sorry, PN. I got to ban you since you're a Rams fan. I'm just playing.
Marvel still saying Detroit 24-25.
That'd be
Fox
cool, man.
says, and you guys let me know your thoughts, but Fox says, not sure esports has a place in MMOs. Ooh. Vertex says, my hot take. I think that APOC would make something decent for esports, at least far more than anything in Ashes specifically. Don't tell Bills fans that weekly terms would be better. So that's funny that you say that, Vertex, because that's exactly where I was going to go with things. So I feel like, and I agree with you as well, Fox. Put in Ashes or MMO in general for an esports thing. I think WoW has something. I mean, it's Blizzard, right? They got a huge budget and probably got a lot of stuff behind that to push it. I think it's weird because then you approach balance in a MMO very different when you have an esports component.
Yes.
However, I think if they were to introduce something like their APOC style, like Vertec was alluding to, and maybe they can do this in like an upcoming DLC, have like a battle royale, have one map, like similar to how New World has one map. You can make this an instance thing, like the way we assume instant arenas are going to be instance.
Yeah.
And if you can do some sort of battle royale, and it would be very simple. I mean, to be honest, I don't have to like try to think of this. They can really just copy paste APOC to a certain extent. Um, Maybe you pick up spells or parts of your build along the way. You start off pretty bare bones. But I think the way to do that would be like you start off in a flying mount and you descend slowly to a certain part. Make it a decent size arena, obviously, and then yeah, battle royale is really the only way you can really do that. Other than that, I don't want to see. I mean, maybe this isn't the popular opinion. Even as a PvPer, I'll say this. I don't know if I want to see sweaty 5v5 arena comps for esports teams because I don't know. I don't find that super. It'd be like me watching Elder Scrolls Online ball groups just go at it and no one dies because heals are ridiculous. And I don't know. But at the same time, I do see how it could be interesting. I'm kind of on the fence right now. I think the reason I'm on the fence right now because I think deep down it is something I would want, but I don't want them giving it no attention right now. That is the last thing we need to be worried about. So I guess why I really feel that way. How you doing, Rage? Vertex says just copy paste abilities and such from Ashes and drop it into what they built for APOC. Separate game, same universe, same world. Okay, yeah. I like that. I like that. Just kind of reboot APOC to a certain extent. Does it feel like it fits the game? Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm sure they're just gauging reaction, or it's just like one of those random posts. I doubt they're working on it right now. I think one of the community managers kind of alluded to that. It's just like they're just trying to gauge people right now.
So here's my opinion, and I'm on the fence. Like, I'm not a definite no, I'm not a definite yes, but the main pro that I could see for having like an esports discussion is if they're looking into branching into that category and they look into going that specific route. I think that a focus on balance for all 64 classes would be a lot more it would happen more in detail. And my biggest concern is, as and this is a long time from now, I'm not trying to say anything like that, but like you want to be able to enjoy all the classes that a game has. And so if they do have that type of focus, it basically ensures that they're going to be looking at combat, and combat won't get ignored often like it has in other games in the past. And so there is a pro to it. I don't want to say like I'm pro esports. Like you see lots of big name streamers right now trying to have esports teams because there is a belief from a lot of people that it is the future, and I totally get that. But all the big streamers right now, I'm pretty sure are operating at a loss right now. And so it's just which one's going to take off, like how is it going to take off. And yeah, it may be trying to catch the dragon, like games just get outdated too quickly. Maybe you'll just never have a game that can gain that kind of following. But the idea of like, hey, we're going to focus on this, so then by default we have to focus on this, it's definitely not a bad thing for me. So
yeah. It always seems weird when it's not a fighting game or it's not a shooter game. I think with our genre, it's definitely something different. BM has a take. He says, if you want very little open world PvP, introduce arenas. I'm not a believer in that. I think if anything, it could help a game, in my opinion. And I think honestly, people that are so afraid of corrupted players or PvP, they would get more nervous if you took away the option for instance-based PvP because they feel like the PvPers won't get their fix, so they'll be killing them open world. And we got to remember there is the open seas, which that will just never be taken away from, being a PvP-based whole geographical area. We do have that going on. So I don't know. I don't think there's a way to really. I don't think it'll have that effect. Basically,
yeah.
Forfrom says, I know I'm way too far ahead, but I'm curious what will be the eventual other classes eventually added to AOC. Had ideas for a few. Do you guys think they will ever do DLC classes?
I could see it. So Vertec over here said that Nair had a good idea, and his says, my idea for esports is something that reflects the game. Make it PVX, like 8v8 with a boss or 3 that they fight over. That's a cool idea. Yeah, like
I
kind
like
of
that.
like a random rolling wild card, basically. That's way better. Like for me, like 3-team groups are just I don't like the idea of like, backcapping people, but the idea of a boss
Yeah.
backcapping people sounds pretty funny. So I get behind that.
Yes, that would be really cool. Anything PVX, anything where I got to worry about players and I got to worry about like ads and PVE elements is just the most fun thing. We talked about it on this podcast a lot. That's why we love the Imperial City for ESO. Anytime you get that opportunity where you got to worry about an actual human brain as well as like programming and difficult, especially if that programming that those ads are difficult, I think you're in for a fun time. I think you're in for a fun time, and I think game modes like that have PVX have so much replayability, so much longevity. Because that's the cool thing about PvP. You don't never know what this person's build is going to be. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know their skill level. Um, PVE is typically a little bit more consistent, but when you throw them in at the same time, it's just like this chaotic,
Yeah.
fun mess.
Yep.
And I really love that. So yeah, I'd be even more hype. And you would maybe we should assume that's how Ashes would do this, but I'd be even more hype if that's the route they took is a more PVX approach to this esports thing.
It would be a different twist that I think a lot of other. Well, I mean, League of Legends kind of has it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that would be super interesting. Be a super interesting idea. I do agree with Nair here also. He went on to say that the esports should be an example of actual core gameplay, not a side thing like the arena system is. I can get behind that because you want players to be able to replay. Like if you have like an esports thing, and hypothetically you have kids watching these people play, like you want them to be able to enjoy the game at a lower level than what you're doing. So I can get behind that too. I can see that point of view.
Like Magisto said, though, they'd probably take a few years to balance and adapt how the
Yeah.
core archetype classes functions first, then consider new archetypes. Yeah, I think it's definitely way out there. We're still trying to just get the game released, and and it all depends. I think once, another random tangent here. I think once we see how augments truly perform, when we see our first multi-class archetype in this game, like detailed showed, especially the skill tree. Once we see how augments truly play out in Ashes of Creation, we'll really know a lot about this game. We'll know a lot about the direction and how important this 64 class system is and how
Yep.
important our choices actually is. And it'll also give us an outlook for if how possible future archetypes could be. But that remains to be seen. We got a lot, we could look in the wiki for previous Steven quotes. He gets asked it a lot, but we really don't know per se. We haven't seen it in action. And for it to be such an integral part of the game, the 64 class system, these augments, it's actually interesting that we haven't seen it. And we've seen a lot of level 25 plus characters as of late, I think. So it's very I don't know, especially considering how the Ranger skill tree at the time we saw it was very bare bones. I don't know if they've even gotten to that point. I don't know, that's just speculation, but what do you guys think? I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to be a while before we see augments, but I think it's one of the most important things for us to see and I hope we see it soon.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about this. I don't think we're going to see augments until all the classes or archetypes are shown. I think
Yeah.
I think we're away, and I very well could be wrong. They're probably working on these things in parallel. Like you have different teams working on archetypes, then you have other people working on augments. But yeah, I just don't until we have all those figured out. I don't think they're going to have like an augment showcase done. And so my expectation is expectation is the wrong word. My belief is that we'll have Alpha 2, and then sometime like either late this year or next year is when we'll see augments. Well, while Alpha 2 is still going. But I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong because I want to see that soon too.
Yeah. Vertex says, what would you think if they added 8 new secondary archetypes before they released a full
Man.
archetype that would play as a primary and or secondary.
Let me get through the 64 first already, guys. Like,
Yeah,
oh
I'm
my,
not even there
I'm just
yet.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'd love it. I would love it, but yeah,
I can't even fathom it. I want to be able to visualize it. Magisto says, thing is, if they want to add a tank role archetype in the future, they should consider changing the current tank archetype nomenclature, resolve the issue now. I have been a very adamant, like I keep forgetting to start the Reddit petition. If I start a Reddit petition, will you guys sign by upvoting?
So
Because I am so tempted to put something on Reddit to where we just say, hey, dude, please change the name of this archetype. Why is this role the name of an archetype? It doesn't make sense. I really do not like that. You can go with we've talked about name potentials before, but Guardian, Warrior, something like that. I just really don't like it. And what it makes me think is that other archetypes, I mean, they said other archetypes can tank, but I mean, I'm sure other archetypes can probably heal, like the cleric can heal, but the cleric is not called the healer. I just don't like it, because what if I want to, are you telling a fighter that do the fighter not have any taunts in their kit? Is it really just that specific archetype that we're going to see tanking? Is the cleric really the only one that we're going to, I know they said the cleric is really the only one that can heal at a high level, but is that really the kind of class design you want to go for? I don't know.
I do know that there's at least one person in this chat, Nice, that will co-sign with you. And that's because I was in the tavern last week with Vertek and Chibi, and Vertek brought this up as well. I think I think a lot of tanks feel the same way. They're like, man, all these other names are so cool, and then our name is Tank.
Yeah, tank the role. Yeah. Vertex says I will sign that before you finish writing. Galwood says Steven will never compromise on the tank. Ugh. That's it. It's time to go to war with Steven.
Are you saying Steven is stalwart in his resolve?
Yeah.
And he's blocking out all other points of view?
He is.
Interesting.
Dalvern says, tank is to tank as summoner is to summoner. What's the problem? That is the most ridiculous statement ever. Summoner's not a role. Summoners, there's healer, there's tank, there's DPS. There's not healer, tank, DPS, summoner. Hell, Bard, you can at least say maybe that's considered another role. It's the support role, but even Bard's not called a role per se. Tank is the only thing that's a role in the Holy Trinity. So that comparison is very far from apples to apples. Very far. Tanks tank things, summoners summon things. It's not a role though. You can't say cleric things, or I don't think that's really apples to apples at all. Probably not until you go tank augments. Replace tank by office. Like if the name of the archetype was guardian, then you can make the tank should be guardian, if that makes sense. Tank shouldn't be I don't know. It's a role. I'm gonna stop now because that will be the whole stream. Me ranting on how ridiculous that is of a name choice.
We all play MMOs. You guys all know how futile it is to attack tanks about things like this. You see what's happening. Like he just put his guard up, and you're not gonna get through. You're not getting through tonight. Like I think this is. I'm sorry. I'm holding block. I'm gonna keep doing tank puns while we're at it. So
I got chat scrolling above my head. Let me just kind of block right.
Put a reflex spell on.
Solverin says, oh wait, where'd it go? I can't see the comment. There it is. He says they're gonna rename cleric just to piss us off.
to healer. Change
to healer, yeah.
Yeah. Change rogue to sneaky boy.
Sneaky boy. Ugh. All right.
Next one.
I remember seeing an amazing forum post from Lineker last week.
Oh yeah.
I think it's this one I posted, debunking misconceptions on the caravan system.
Yep.
All right, here, I'll get that ready for you guys, chat. This is
there's some good discussion in there for sure.
Let's see. I remember it being a decently long one, but such a good read. I think you guys will really enjoy it. So this is more on the subject that we've been talking about a lot lately, and that's the attackers versus caravan risk. conversation, debate, whatever you want to call it. Here, let me make sure you guys can see.
I'd say mostly healthy conversation. Mostly.
Definitely. Here, let's do. Let me zoom in one more time. There we go. All right, so this is a forum post from Lineker. Lineker typically has some really good takes. Aaron says, Bard can be the balancer of the Trinity, buffing the weak link, whether it be the tank DPS or healer to maximize the efficiency of the group. Bard, I cannot wait to play. I have not played an MMO with the Bard. Like, I just can't wait to see that role fulfilled, that dynamic, rather than making the healer being the buffer. Or you actually see a lot of tanks. It seemed like in Guild Wars too, like that was kind of like the tank's role. Usually most MMOs put that on the tank. I know in ESO it's pretty much like that. Everyone typically gives buffs, but you know, you're really just, you wear a support set, and the tanking part, you know, you typically don't wear sets typically just to make you more tanky or survivability crazy. You're just supposed to depend on your healer and, you know, have a decent amount of health, but mostly you're there for support and debuffing. And Bard's being able to like kind of take the load off the healer, take the load off the tank especially, and boost the damage of the DPS is going to be really phenomenal.
I think it's going to be a cool play style. We can't wait.
Yes. So this article, once again on the forums by Lineker, is titled "Debunking Misconceptions on the Caravan System. Attackers don't need risk." Attackers don't need risk. You guys hear this? You hear this, madman? How long is this one? Yeah, we can split this one up. So Lineker says, I've had this discussion with many, many people over the last few years. Remember, this has been a conversation for years, but now that people see it, it's scary. Now that people seen that caravan get robbed, it's scary. And I think I finally understand where the majority of the misconceptions about the PvP systems in AOC, such as the caravan system, come from. A large portion of the players and content creators.
He's calling us out nice.
Did he put that in bold? Is this bold?
Yeah, he
text?
did. Yes, it is.
Spicy. I say he ats them, personally. I think he should at them. A large portion of the players and content creators that are following AOC and sharing feedback are mainly theme park MMO players. From WoW to Final Fantasy XIV to New World or BDO, there is a very large portion of the community that never experienced a trade pack system with PvP. That makes it completely understandable that takes like only guilds will run caravans or everyone will be attacking caravans and no one will do them. I think this is, by the way, I think that we've had like a respectful debate. You know, when it comes to this matter, like, you know, you say your point of view, I say my point of view. You think attackers need more risk, maybe I don't, vice versa. I think these two takes right here that people use, in all due respect, are dumb. I don't know how to properly or respectfully phrase that, but it's legit dumb takes. These two are legit dumb takes. Like, if you really analyze the game system and how it works and how the movement of materials go, to imply that only guilds will run caravans is just a horrible prediction. None of us have played the game, but I think this by far is a horrible prediction. And then now at least everyone will be attacking caravans and no one will do them. Well, that's basically saying the same thing, but even more of a extreme. I just think these two takes are dumb. The premise that attackers need more risk is not dumb. That's not what I'm saying, so don't misquote me. But these two defenses as reasonings are dumb, in my opinion. I'll let you read forward from here.
Yeah, before we dive into more of this, but only guilds will run caravans. Yeah, I mean, like nodes will run caravans. Guilds will, like, I think you're gonna have your guilds within the nodes, and then you're gonna have people working in nodes as well, and you're gonna have your friends, and like, yeah. As far as the everyone will be attacking caravans and no one will do them aspect, before we read the rest, I attempted to debunk this last Friday. So one of the videos I did last Friday was literally going into the, hey, everybody's going to attack, everybody's going to do this. And the TLDR, if you guys don't want to watch that video, is as long as the ROI is there for defenders, is because as a defender, you have two choices. A defender of a caravan, you go out, you collect your glint, or you collect your resources or whatever that you can ship in caravans, and you can either turn them in at the node for whatever gold price you get immediately, or you can ship them in caravans. And those are your two choices. Like, you can't just Like what? Like you have to exchange it for other stuff you want in the future, right? And so those are your two choices. If one is giving you vastly more gold than the other, it's incentivizing people to choose the system. And we don't know exactly what the return on investment for caravan runners is going to be. In the example that I provided, it was a 5x investment on an hour-long caravan run. But we know from last year, the first caravan live stream, that some of the resources on that 20 to 30 minute run were a 6x to an 8x. And so we don't know exactly how much it'll take, like how much it'll cost to like make and build a caravan. But the point is it looks like the ROI it looks like the return on investment is very similar to what I was talking about in the video. And at that point, you can win, 25% of the time, but it could very well still yield you more profit than turning it at your home node. And so because of that, people are going to do it. And you're not, in my opinion, you're not going to lose that much. Like you're not going to get attacked that much. You're not going to lose that much in my opinion. But yeah, I think as long as the profit is there, people will take the risk. And that's the biggest thing. So,
yes.
But yeah, he goes on to say, the undeniable fact is this system is not new. It's not original AOC. It has been done before with multiple iterations, but all these same core feature in place. Deliver trade packs resources for you or your own guild's own self-interest and profit, and risk being attacked and losing your shit with minor to no risk on the attacking side. And it always worked, all the way from 2004 to Silk Road to 2013 with Arcage and 2023 with Raven Dawn. Those games had other issues, of course, but you won't hear players commenting that no one would do trade packs in Silk Road or Arcage because of attackers having no risk. And those trade packs were extremely popular. From solo players to small groups to large guilds, everyone ran trade packs. And why? Because of the reward. Making 5x or 10x profit, transporting high demand resources, those benefits are worth the risk. This is how it's always played out. Yeah, and I guess I hadn't read this in a while. Nice. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to like get ahead. But yeah, as long as the reward is there, people will be incentivized to drive caravans regardless. Like you could lose 95% of the time, but if you're getting 100x, like you're going to run caravans. You're going to be upset because you're losing almost all the time, but it's still more profitable to do so.
Indeed. And I think that's important for Intrepid to balance out too. Like you got to make it worthwhile. The thing is, people that are super anti PvP and don't want their caravan PvP. None of us want that to happen, right? We don't want our caravan attacked, but it's going to happen. But that's what makes the caravan so value. And you need to make sure you're incentivizing the player running these caravans. So like, okay, if my caravan gets hit, they take all my stuff I've been working hard for. That's gonna feel bad. It's gonna feel bad, chat. Now, what you need to do is make sure when that player does successfully run a caravan, he makes bank. It feels good. He's like, whoof, barely made it. And he's getting this 10x profit. Like, that's going to be big. It needs to be like Else has been explaining in his videos. And just now, like basically, even if two of your caravans get hit, assuming you didn't put all your life savings in one huge caravan just for one shot at everything, if two of your caravans are hit, but your third one is successful, if that third one being successful causes you to break even, like your profit from that third one basically covered the loss of profit from the first two, or at least the base goods, you know what I'm saying? The cost, then like that's a good system, and that's a rewarding system, and that's a feels good system. That's really good for the player. And then I think in that sense, the people that did get their caravan destroyed will understand and be able to cope with the system better. And I think that's going to be a tricky thing for Intrepid to try and balance out, but we got to at least give them a chance, right?
Yeah. I got a couple comments here. Nice. Just brief, because I think this is going to bring up a lot of conversation as we're reading through this. Vertex says, you caught me on the way out the door. If it's 20x return, yay, but you also need to pay 20 people to travel with you to keep it safe. Thus, it's a loss. Well, that's a thing I brought up in my video also, Vertex. The example that was provided was actually from Nice's YouTube channel. Nice did his video and somebody commented and they're like, well, if it takes 15 people 5 hours a piece to put in this work, I basically calculated the work that everybody provided for filling the caravan and then the hour to transport the caravan. And I showed with a 5x that basically, like, if you're all working towards it, you're going to fill them faster. And so it all just kind of depends. Like if you're running your own caravan of goods, yeah, sure. Like we don't know how big these things are. The last thing we heard was, your inventory is one, a mule is 10 times your inventory, and then a
Mm-hmm.
caravan is 100 times your inventory as well. So you have to fill your inventory 100 times in order to fill a caravan. So my belief has always been like, if you wanted to run more of these, as many of these as possible, you're probably going to get like a 5-10 man group to fill these things. And then you're just splitting the profits. Like, hey, I put in this, I get the reward off of this. When we get over there, I get 8x for my amount. What are you putting in? And then we just divvy it up when we're done. And so
Yeah.
that's how I've always viewed it, is it's the overall work divided by hours. And yeah, like even paying people from, what I showed on Friday, like, as long as the return on investment's there, it's cool. But there's some people that, and they're this is the other thing I want to bring up, and then you can continue reading. Nice. Some people are very risk averse, right? Like this is the same thing as like stocks and bond investments. Like some people, they want this steady, low ROI but low risk. They don't care about being millionaires. They just want their money to go up from year to year. It's a lower percentage. So if you want to deposit into your home node because you're never going to get attacked that way, you're more than fine to do so. If you know that you're going to like if getting attacked once is your breaking point, then yeah, you probably shouldn't engage in caravans. And that's just your own personal opinion. But the caravan is there as a multiplier. It's more of like a tech stock or something like that, a new startup. It's going to give you potentially a higher return on investment, and it's also riskier each time you go out. And so that's how I kind of look at it in general.
Yeah. Vertex said pretty much the same thing. He said, "You are doing the math as if you're the only one splitting the profits, like you're running the caravan solo." No, I mean, we don't know the numbers. Like this is all stuff that's loose in the air. And there's also different factors. Do you pay the people that helped you defend as soon as they join your group, or do you pay them if your caravan was successful? Do they only get half the cost if your caravan was successfully destroyed? There's a lot of things that go into that, but let's assume Intrepid gets the numbers right. If you had 8 friends with you and you paid them out and you lost 2 caravans, but one was successful, those caravans carrying as much as they do, in theory, should cover that loss and you still make a profit, or at the very least break even. That would be to me a great system and a great balance. And if your caravan wasn't successful, then in my opinion, it didn't mean enough to you. You didn't bring enough people. You didn't want to, maybe you were greedy and didn't want to pay a couple more defenders that would have, made your caravan successful. That's the thing. If you got you and 4 other friends and you found, you come across a group of like 8 people, open world, they attack your caravan. I mean, let's assume 8 people can take out a 4-person caravan. Let's say 4 defenders in a caravan. I don't think that's going to be the case with the caravan abilities unless your team is just really bad. But let's say
Yep.
that it is. Then you take that L. You should have had more people. How upset you are about your caravan being destroyed. You need to put that energy into if it means that much to you, if it would be that heartbreaking, then you need to put that much more effort to paying that much more people for that caravan escort. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yep. Kind of in that same vein, nice. This is crossing over topics, but it's talking about the same thing. I was coaching one of my good friends in online poker a few years ago, and he was moving up through the ranks. And there's a as you move up through the ranks in poker, you're risking more and more money. Like all of a sudden, it gets at some point for most people. You get to a certain point to where you start realizing that it's not chips anymore and it's money, and your decisions are influenced by the amount of money that's in front of you. And you end up making suboptimal decisions because you're like, wow, I just lost $1,000 or 500, like whoever it is. And so I remember having this conversation with a friend of mine, and he would do really well at the $100 tables, and he was really good. But the minute he got up to like the $400 tables, he just couldn't get used to the levels. He couldn't get used to it. And he would play differently than what he normally does. He was very conservative. He would make like very good, tight decisions. And then all of a sudden he'd move up and he's like, I have to establish this. And like, he just not be himself. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is, if you're at any point in time in a game like Ashes of Creation where you're out farming and you're farming for resources, if you're carrying a ton of stuff where you're like, man, it would really suck right now if somebody ganked me, go turn it in. Go turn it in right then and there. Don't ever carry stuff to where you'd be upset about losing it. It's the same thing for a caravan run. Like I was just talking in Discord while you were, or in Twitch while you were talking, Nice. And yeah, Galwood brought up a good point. Never risk, like if all of your resources are on one caravan run and that's everything, don't do it. Like piecemeal it. Like I would personally do a percentage. I don't know what that percentage would be, but it's like, hey, I'm going to spread out my resources that I farmed over 4, 5, 6 caravan runs. That way, if I do lose, I'm not losing everything. I'm only losing a portion of it. And then we'll go on and get the next one. We know, we spread out enough caravan runs. We're going to win more than we lose. Hopefully we're going to make a better ROI. No need to risk it all on one.
And if you do risk it all on one, like if you want to get this over with, you got your guildies, all your boys is online, you're moving nodes, or you want to deliver these goods to this node for a profit, or you just want to get all these goods to trade to somebody, however it's going to work, whatever. I think if you're willing to do that, especially in one run, if you're willing to gamble and risk it all, you better have risk it all friends and risk it all money, because don't do all that and then bring 3 friends and then be upset if someone happens to attack you. Do it 3 a.m. or the least active time, whatever that time is for your server. Have all your buddies on and compensate them for their time. And don't, like El said, don't bet what you're not willing to risk. How you doing, Tatamo?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys play ESO and you've been in Imperial City, it's the same thing with Telvar. The minute you start getting that itchy feeling in the back of your head, like, man, I got 100,000 Telvar. I mean, I better go drop this off. Yeah, you should probably go drop it off, because the minute you start thinking about it, go drop it off. Because if you lose it, you're not going to be happy. And so, like any sort of resource collection like this where you can lose it, that's how I'd always advocate for it. Because then if you do get attacked, you don't lose anything you're upset about. Like if you turn it in and you go back and you start farming and then somebody ganks you after, you just laugh because you're like, man, you missed me 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago, I had way more.
Vertex says, the big question about Silk Road, Arcade, and Raven Dawn, do they have instance content to get more people off the open world map? The thing with that, and I don't know if that's what you want your goal to be, is to have instance content so that there's less people to conflict with or compete with caravans. I'm actually not sure about those games. Let's assume Ashes, has its instance content ready to go from day one. I think there will still be conflict open world, because the thing is, no matter how you want to slice it, dice it, I don't think getting people off the open world map is gonna be the solution, or something that's gonna be probable to happen. I think regardless, this is a mobile PvP objective, and it's about, honestly, luck. Right place, right time, or in this case, wrong place, wrong time. This is a huge map, and yes, there will be choke points, and certain areas will eventually get known to be a popular route, especially if you're just keeping your caravan on the road for speed efficiency and you're not taking any like shortcuts off road and everything. That I think you're going to run into some problems, after the game's been out for a little while. Something like, and this, you know what? Let me put a pause on this conversation. This debate will last for weeks, but let me say this. It brought me to a hot prediction, because I was like, man, we talk about this a lot over the last week or two.
Yeah.
Let me bring you to this else.
Okay.
Random take just jumped in my head, because I've been thinking like how I said when we first started this. I think the fact that people have seen this, it's now an issue. The open seas is a full PvP zone. I think we're going to circle all the way back to this once they show the ocean content at some point during Alpha 2. I think they're going to show that some really good loot. Haven't they been on record saying that the best loot is going to come from the open seas, and there's going to be a lot of ocean content?
Yeah.
I think once players see that, especially like people that love just naval stuff in games, I think they're going to be really upset, realizing that that's not within the corruption system realm. Same way that the PvP, the caravan is a PvP objective, the whole ocean is a PvP objective. And I think the more and more players see these objective-based PvP or these non-corrupted PvP things, that they're starting to get more and more upset or worried. Because I think with ganking, yes, people are worried about ganking, and they hope the corruption system is penalizing and all that. We all do. But the thing is, I think they are okay with that because in their head they're like, well, at least he got punished for it. That's what helps. That's what justifies it. That's what helps you feel better.
Sure.
If you're one of the players that don't want to fight back and lose less resources, but yeah, I think that's gonna eventually be another point of I guess contention you can say. Vertex says no instances equals more people looking for content. That content can become raiding caravans. I think it's going to
Absolutely.
be the most repeatable and fun game mode objective I've ever played in an MMO. I'll be honest. I think it will
Yeah.
be. Being rewarded for PvP is what attracted me to this game. Being able to PvP and make profit is what attracted me to this game. And I don't even mean that as an attacker. I mean that as a defender. Like the economy working in this way where I had to physically move goods. You know how many times I fast traveled all my stuff to a game to go craft it in a different city and all that? I didn't have to worry about nothing. I had to look over my shoulder. I didn't have to worry about losing anything. I couldn't lose anything. This game having this concept, whether it's from the attackers end or the defenders end, like I've said the same example so many times, but like knowing that I'm hauling this amount of stuff, it would just seem like a chore. If there was no threat, it would seem like another MMO chore. But knowing that some guy could be lurking and attack me, or I took the wrong route at the wrong time, went down the wrong alley, stuff like that it's the thrill. I think that's the perfect word for it. Is the thrill.
Yeah.
But no instance, more people looking for content and that's what's gonna happen. And I think we just got to understand that that's the game. That's the game.
So the video I did today, talking about this specific situation, and people are talking about like attackers are way too incentivized, and yeah, all that. Basically, what I did in the video today, if you guys want to go check it out and you want to see my perspective on it, is I try to create a murder box in Ashes of Creation. Literally, everybody attacks with a lot of people, and they win caravan runs 80% of the time. So like every single caravan that goes out across Verra, every single one is intercepted by more people, enough people to win 80% of the time. And what I tried to show in that situation is, okay, attackers feel incentivized. They feel incentivized to go out and attack, and they go out and win in these situations. And they're really trying to profit because they think that this is the most profitable way to do it. Yes. But then what I showed also is frankly, the world, the map on Verra is huge, and to assume that you're going to intercept 100% of caravans, that's not going to happen. Like there's no way you're going to intercept 100% of all caravans. People are going to choose to run later. They're going to run through areas with not enough people to overtake them. They're going to sometimes have better PvPers. So what I did is I basically said, hey, defenders win 30% of the time instead of 20. And in that situation, with all the numbers given, the defenders' ROI was way higher. Like it was like 20 to 30% higher than attackers. So even though attackers felt more incentivized, like they felt like, hey, like I have no risk attached to me. Part of the risk is you're not making as much gold. And the thing with this game, the big thing with this game is it is going to be a land rush. It is going to be a resource grab rush, and it is also going to be, for us PvPers, it's going to be a gear rush. Getting to this stuff faster than other people is a big deal. And even though we're not like nice, let's say you and I are in separate nodes, right? And so you're over in the Kansas City Chiefs node, and I'm in the San Francisco 49ers node. And
our node one.
It's a new season. We're starting over. Anyways, my point is like, if I'm making hypothetically 15 gold per hour and Nice is making 10, I'm farther ahead than he is. That's just the way it is. And so I'm going to be able to purchase more things for my character. I'm going to be able to maneuver more things in the future. Those edges where I'm making 50% more gold than Nice in this situation, those edges are going to add up over time. If I'm teaching my guild members to do the exact same thing that I'm doing, my guild is going to be way ahead of Nice's, or vice versa, because we're just generating more per hour. And so these things do add up, and they will. I really think they'll matter. And the risk in this system, one of the big risks is you're not making as much as other people. And because you're engaging in the system in the same way, you're not as profitable.
Another hot take. So I don't know which episode, it was a couple of episodes ago. A couple of episodes ago, we were talking about corruption and bouncing corruption. And I had the maybe it's a hot take, and I hope Intrepid does it this way, where they tune the corruption to be too harsh and then slowly make it less harsh if it's too penalizing to players. I still hope that, and I think that the corruption system is going to be so penalizing, and it should be so penalizing to discourage that kind of action. I have a feeling that right now, and players used to blow out this corruption system until they really understood it. I think we're going to have the same thing with this attackers versus defenders and caravan system. I
Yeah.
think come launch, come testing, these caravans will rarely successfully be rated, and people are just over. It's just fear. It's literal fear mongering is what's happening in this community, and it's actually disappointing to see. People are just so afraid of seeing their hard-earned work just literally be destroyed in front of their very eyes. And it sounds scary. It's very scary. And I totally get that. But I think it's a bunch of fear mongering. And then we don't know until we see how the economy and everything plays out. My prediction is that these caravans are super bulky, like Els alluded to in his video. And I'm going to do a video on this. I should be done recording it tonight. I don't want to say too much, but just know that I don't think a lot of these attacks are actually even going to be successful. I think it will actually be very penalizing, well, very risky for attackers, as in they're not going to succeed as much as people think they will.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably no. Let me not say. I don't want to say too much because I got a statement I want to make, but that's the gist of it. But I really do predict that in a perfect world, especially if you're smart and you got friends with you, a lot of these caravan attacks won't be successful, and it'll actually be a rare and dare I say wonderful thing when one is successfully rated, because it will be that rare. Just from a little things that I've been analyzing lately, but that's all I'll say for now.
Yeah, I really tried to go, like in the video. I know you saw it, nice, but in the video I did today, I really tried to be like, hey, every time you send out a caravan with 15 people, you're attacked by 25. You're like, basically you see 25 people and you're like, fuck it, we're sending, like, let's go. Yeah. And that's not going to happen. Like the situation that I stipulated where you're going to lose, first of all, you're not going to lose 80% of your caravan runs. If you're losing 80%, you're not planning accordingly. You're not, you like, that's going to be one of those, like, hey, maybe work with other people, maybe bring more people, maybe like, those sorts of situations, maybe wait a little bit until the attackers leave. There's other things you could do, but yeah, like, I attached a 30% win rate to it, and the defenders just came out ahead because of the resource loss that attackers get right away. You win 80% of the time, you can only take half the resources because the caravan gets destroyed. And so you have more attackers taking less resources. And so already, like, that's a huge portion of what's happening in the situation is you have more people splitting less gold. And so you just have to have much less hours invested in order to make up for it. But the other thing is you have more attackers in this situation. So like 2 hours with 2 people is 4 hours. It's the same as, 1 hour with 4 people per person with 4 people. It's still the same hours invested. It's just spread out over people. And so it's one of those things where it's like, the minute you start having larger groups that are winning a large portion of the time and the big angry guilds and stuff, and they're splitting, it's like Telvar, right? Nice. So like when the 24-man groups used to go split 200 Telvar a piece for bosses, it's like, okay, have fun. Like, you're going to be down here for 12 hours. Like, right. And I'll go kill a boss by myself and I'll make all that in 10 minutes. And so if the entire game was that way, like they would be struggling.
Yep. We got some good comments here in chat.
Go ahead.
Catching up with the voices of Verra here. Wildfire earlier had said, being from Seattle and always a Raven fan as well, I'm definitely tearing you both new ones in Alpha 2.
Wow. Okay.
So BM said something I want to expand on.
Sure.
He said, it won't be hard to find people to help defend your caravan either. People who might want to PvP without being the aggressors. He with the biggest Zerg wins. The defenders will be the Zergiest. So that's a hot take that I could definitely agree with, because people, think about it, if people are this scared, if there's this much fear mongering, like, oh my gosh, I can lose all my stuff, don't you guys think people are gonna like be really deep when they move caravans? I think we won't even see groups of like 5. I think it'll be a big thing. And yes, you gotta pay people, but I think the more common that these things become, I doubt it's gonna be like some crazy amount that you gotta pay people to escort you. And here's the thing, like I've said before, there's going to be Reddits dedicated to specific servers. There's going to be Discords dedicated to specific servers. And I mean, like, whatever they name each Ashes of Creation server, it's going to be Dragon East, Dragon West, whatever the name of your server is. There's going to be a Discord for that. And there's going to be like how you play your current MMO right now. And you're like, hey, wanting to buy a carry or need someone to help me grind this XP. It's going to be the same thing with Ashes, but you're going to jump on a Discord chat and you're going to pay people or offer payment in return for safe delivery of a caravan. There's going to be so much people ready to defend a caravan. I don't think you will have organized attacker groups. I don't think, because you have to know where they're at, unless you got like double spy, espionage, or et cetera, et cetera. Like Fox said, he said, if you're losing most of your runs, you got a double agent or just getting scouted hard. Exactly.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. Like if you and 5 buddies go out looking for people running caravans in this huge world of Verra, what's the chances of you finding that? If that's what you're dedicated to do. Now there is the random chance, and this is the situation most people are talking about where, why wouldn't I attack that caravan? Me and my 5 buddies were on the way to this dungeon. I see this caravan. It's only got 2 people protecting it. Why wouldn't we go for that? I could totally see that. But to think like there's just these, I don't know. I don't see many people sitting at choke points. I don't think it's going to play out like it did in the showcase where, you got a couple of rangers in camouflage just hoping a caravan happens to come down this specific narrow mountain way. I don't foresee that being a thing. I think these caravans will be very zergy, very deep.
At least early on.
At least very early on. You remember scroll runs? We make this comparison. Like scroll runs in ESO.
Yeah.
It's very rare. I grab a scroll from a keep and I'm trying to run it all the way back home, and I don't got like 5 randoms minimal escorting me. Now it's usually the whole faction because everybody wants you to have that scroll.
Yep.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of people willing to help. But the thing with the ESO comparison, though, is they have a vested interest in that. And to make sure that players have a vested interest in your caravan, you're going to offer them payment, or Intrepid thus needs to incentivize you to defend a caravan. And that's a system like, yes, they probably want to keep it player-initiated systems, but there could be something that Intrepid gives you. Obviously, it's going to be XP. I think that's without question. But maybe Intrepid gives you some sort of material or something for successful caravan runs. Like if this caravan is successfully delivered and you've been escorting it for at least a minimum of 2 minutes, you get this specific material that's used at this vendor, et cetera, et cetera.
It was also during our debate on Saturday nights, it was also mentioned that the live stream, I haven't gone back to look, but it was mentioned by a few people that partook in the live stream that deaths experienced XP debt as well. So they didn't mention it, and I didn't want to I just want to toss that out there because we have somebody else that was in there. Vertec was there, so maybe he can confirm this. But deaths are allegedly one of the guys said that XP debt was shown on death, and so. If that is the case, there is a risk there because spending hours farming stuff off is also an issue. And I don't like there was nothing confirmed. Steven didn't say it or anything like that, but apparently that's what they showed in the video. So they're possibly tossing that idea around as well. But yeah,
I've been a firm believer that my video, that's what I was hoping for, is like because a couple people commented, and I guess I should have worded it better.
Sure.
But because a couple people commented, they were like, you don't lose XP debt. It's a PvP objective, so there won't be XP debt. Personally, what I was trying to get at is I'm hoping that that's the case, because Steven has seen the inconsistent. Like if you go to the page on the wiki, he says specifically caravans, but at the same time, when he talks about death penalties, it's like really we need like a straight up answer, and I'm hoping that is the case and that they like realize that would be a mistake. I think yes, it's an open world PvP objective, but you need to have death penalties. There should be XP loss for attackers, especially if you don't do it for both, which I mean maybe I think it should just be both. At least do it for attackers, because I think that would alleviate some of this debate. But yeah, I think it should just, I don't see why this little caravan system should be exempt from the rest of the open world deaths. Personally, if it's instance based arenas and stuff, no, save that stuff for the no death penalty thing. But yeah, Vertec had said 5. I'm talking about a raid group looking for content on their usual raid Thursdays in any other game. They have alts at all the raids looking for raid bosses all dead. I guess let's hunt caravans, boys. I don't foresee that being a fun gameplay loop. I don't foresee. I mean, it depends on the population of the game. I haven't played it. I don't. I mean, what we're looking at, like 10K per server, and if this game is pops off the way we think it does, and it's very active, and there's people even in this large world. Else you've talked about it before, like comparing just the size to New World. Like, I don't know if you're going to be running against people, running into people like that. If there's 11 people on their raid group that went out looking for Tumok, but someone killed Tumok 5 minutes ago, so there's no telling where Tumok's going to respawn and when he's going to respawn, and so now they're sitting there bored. I don't think hunting caravans is going to be the easiest go-to thing. You and 12 people following each other up and down some random space in Verra, just hoping you run into a caravan. I don't foresee it, but we don't know how big the population is and how easy, how these choke points are going to work. So that could be a thing, but I don't see it being likely or fun or an efficient use of the time. It'd be really efficient.
Yeah.
All you guys go farming and get a caravan to run yourself and escort caravans and try to make a profit rather than go hunting them. And that's the thing. People think like, oh, attackers got everything. You're gonna make more money that way. People are gonna attack caravans, not run them. Really? You think that's gonna be? You really think that's gonna be more efficient? Like, when you really break it down, do you think that right there, 12 people walking around the whole freaking Verra looking for a caravan is gonna be the thing to do? LOL, let's do combat. Nope, let's go pick flowers instead. I don't.
So piggybacking off that, nice. I want to get to a core thing, and like this is something that the caravan system is a PvP based system, and so we have to understand that they have to create it in a way to where both sides are incentivized to do so. And so the caravan runners have to be incentivized through carrying their gold and resources to generate gold. Like, as long as that's there and they're winning slightly more or a lot more than they would if they turned into their home place, then they make profit, then caravans will be run. Attackers have to have enough incentive to attack these caravans. Like, that has to exist. And so when you start looking at these caravans, like you said earlier, nice as well, is you have this overall health value of the caravan plus a coordinated group of people that are going out to run these caravans. And so I've mentioned it before, but like, if I put myself in the situation of a caravan runner and I'm in a 10-man group, it's me, Nice, and 8 other people, and we're going to run our caravan and we're going to do the 20-minute Miralith run. And we're like, okay, so this is how big the area is. We're doing the 20-minute quick run for a quick 6x return. Let's send a few people out. Let's just go send a few people out this way. Let's go peep the world bosses that are nearby that could intercept us in time and see if there's any people over there farming, right? So somebody goes over to the world boss and they come back and they're like, hey, there's 40 people over here. I'm not sending out my caravan, man. Like, I got 10 people and a caravan. I'm just going to say, hey guys, let's wait till they move on. Like, there's no reason, like, just because you can send out the caravan doesn't mean you have to at that point in time. If there's a group that big that could attack you that you don't know if they will, just wait. And then once they move on and they go to the next place, or they're out of the range of being able to intercept you in time, then ship the caravans. But like, if you go and like Nice says, hey Else, go scout the area, and I say, hey man, like, there's 5 people kind of on the route that we're going on. It's like, okay, well, we got 10 in a caravan. We don't need to worry about 5 people. It's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's go. And so then we ship the caravan. And so it's not just like you get to choose when and where. And there's also, because there's no fast travel like that, there's only a certain radius that people can attack from. And so, and so if there's not those type of people within that radius that could potentially intercept you, the map's huge. There will be a bunch of people in different spots quite often, because you're going to have big guilds running around, but that means that they're not somewhere else because the map is so huge. And so you just have to look at it that way.
Like, is this not the game trying to get back to the old school, Zerg, or group up with a lot of people, have friends?
Yeah.
Don't they have like a, dedicated guild system and all these social dynamics and encourage you to, play with your friends and everything like that? Like, especially if you're in a guild. Matter of fact, if you're in a guild, like full time, like if you're in an actual Ashes of Creation guild before this game come out, I actually barely well, excuse me, let me put it this way. I barely understand your concern with caravans. And I know you can still have like empathy for the people not in a huge guild, but still, Why would someone not have a lot of friends escorting their caravans? And can't you put your own goods in someone's caravans? I
Yeah,
could have sworn that was a thing too. Like multiple players can pitch in for a caravan.
I thought you could.
Um,
I've been under the assumption that you can.
but like, yeah, you can have people with vested interests. Like, hey, I need to run a caravan. You put it in guild chat, or you jump in Discord. Can someone help me escort this? I think who said it over here recently? I was reading chat. Yeah, BM said it to Fourth Realm. Fourth Realm said, I can understand for personal caravans to pay for defenders, but for mayoral caravans, it's in every node citizen's interest to make sure the caravan reaches destination. Very well said.
Yep.
BM says there are going to be caravans with absolute zergs escorting them more often than a caravan gets absolutely zerged. Facts. I think even if you're worried about the system, I think even if you're worried about the system, can we at least acknowledge that? Let's okay. I tell you what. I tell you what. I tell you what. Vertex here, you're in chat. Anyone that's teamed like, attacker needs more risk, et cetera, et cetera. I need everyone to just fathom. Can we at least come to this conclusion? And I think people need to really think about this. Is it not true that caravans will have more people escorting them, like a full-on Zerg escorting and helping a player get it to its destination, then there is just going to be open world random groups of 24 just straight up roaming the map, hoping to run into a caravan in this large world, thinking that that's going to be more efficient than helping escort a caravan or doing a convoy. I think that should be pretty. I think we should at least be able to like agree that caravans are going to have more defenders on average than attackers are going to be attacking a caravan, unless you're just not playing the game right and you're trying to do you and your little 3-man group. If people want combat, they're going to go look for it. Possibly
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah. Yep, it's a PvP system. Like
But that's what they're supposed to do, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's always going to be the case where defenders profit. I was just like, the video I did showed that although every single caravan was intercepted and the win rate for attackers was high because they believed it was there, the profit then went to the defenders in being successful. So they were making more. There will be plenty of times, guys, like especially like on outskirts of the map and stuff, where there will be some nodes that just they don't run across people intercepting. There's not big groups. Like I think once you get towards the more central part of the map, you're going to see more and more people. The outskirts, you're going to see less and less people. And so those nodes might go, hey, like guys, we haven't had somebody intercept our caravan in so long. I'm just going to run it solo. Like, who cares? And so you're going to see probably some silly things where some areas are going to be so sparse that people haven't been attacked yet. And so then all of a sudden a couple attackers come in and they're going to tell their buddies like, hey, you guys got to get your asses over here right now. Like there's just free fucking resources. Everybody's sending stuff and like they're all sending stuff solo. It's the quickest steal in the world.
Yeah.
You do that a few times, they adjust. And then all of a sudden the quick profits are going to disappear. And it depends on how smart they get and everything. But it's in my opinion, it's definitely going to be a cat and mouse game. And for the bigger nodes, that the mayoral ones, they are going like you're going to have intel. Like they know that there's going to be intel and they're going to basically send as many people online as possible to get that mayoral caravan through. You're going to see hordes of people and it's
gonna be so crazy.
It's gonna be cool as shit. Like it's gonna be so cool.
I hope the mayoral caravans are like, I would imagine they're like triple the health, maybe even more abilities allotted, stuff like that. Vertex says, how many crafters have been in guilds you've been involved with, as in dedicated crafters, not ones that did it? A lot. Like it's probably like a huge majority, because that's usually what happens with guilds is a bunch of people bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
Even in a PvP guild, everybody typically, you level alchemy. Okay, well, I leveled woodworking and staff creating, blacksmith and whatever. And a bunch of people like, hey, anybody got this? Anybody got this? And you just constantly help each other out. Matter of fact, I got something crafted on ESO yesterday. And I was like, hey, I was like, can I get this crafted in medium? And some guy says, I got you. And then they mailed it to me. They didn't like hold it out like super legendary upgraded or anything, but they crafted it and sent it to me. I was like, hey, thanks. What I owe you? He's like, nothing. I was like, oh, okay. And, sometimes somebody would charge me 20K for this or this, that, because, just to compensate them for the time, or they won't ask for it and I'll just leave a tip, right? And just like yesterday, this guy, we're in the same guild, just like, he just cracked it for me and sent it to me. I never even played with the person, but they were just nice enough to do that. because they see me ask that in guild chat. And it's like, oh, you're in my guild. Let me help you out. You know?
Yep.
Bob says, I love PvP, but I got better things to do than hunt small caravans. Unless, of course, they are from an enemy guild trying to move things through my territory. Exactly. Well said. I think what's going to happen is the people that really love PvP, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some days, I mean, if I'm broke and I see a caravan and I'm thirsty for some PvP, it's me and Else. We see a group of like 3 or 4, just 3 or 4 people protecting a caravan. That could be
We'll
a
take a
big
shot.
score for us. We'll take a shot at it.
I'll take a shot. I'm swinging for sure.
But you know what? Like alluding to the question earlier, like, you know, wanting instance-based comments, content so that there's less people on the map, or, you know, wanting more people for these PvPers to do and stuff like that. We gotta remember, if you want your PvP fix, once again, man, there is a whole ocean out there. I think that's where you're gonna see most of the PvP happen. I think if you want your fix or anything like that, that's gonna be the open seas. And I haven't read up on the wiki because Steven talked about this so long ago. But I'm pretty sure I'll look it up as I'm talking. Actually, I could have sworn he said something about the open seas, like, you know, those, I think there's 2 islands out in the open seas, and I think those islands may be PvP islands. I'd have to find it, but I could have sworn he spoke about those islands that are on the map, you know.
Somebody in my chat, I didn't see who said it, but somebody made a comment that one of the islands actually has a node on it, or a castle. And I don't know for sure. Somebody can confirm if this is true or not. But nice, I'm telling you right now, like if there's a node on an island in the ocean or a castle, I think I know where we're setting up shop.
Yes.
So
Vertex said, out of every guild I've ever been in, there have maybe been 1 out of 10 or 20 players. Most just don't have interest or dedication. 100-person guild, that means 10 to 20 people. That is literally a guild. So I think Ashes is going to be a lot different.
I think it's
Here's the thing. It has to be different. I don't think you're going to run into that, Vertex. Because we can't specialize in everything. There's no master crafters per se. Like ESO, you can just you put the work in, you know how to do everything. There's gonna you're gonna need the help from people, and that's why guilds are gonna be so different. Everybody is gonna bring something to the table. Everybody's
Tag in the Discord viral when you get a chance.
Everyone's gonna have something like that. Everyone's gonna bring, you leveled up leatherwork, and this person leveled up animal husbandry. It's probably gonna be on your guild application. It's literally gonna be on your guild application. Yeah. Like, what do you bring? Oh, well, that's perfect. We actually don't have a lot of weaponsmiths. Oh, we actually don't have someone with their own freehold. We actually don't have someone that is good at PvP. I don't know. Like, it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting for sure, because with you being, I know a reason I sometimes didn't level crafting in the game is because I didn't need to. I had no interest. I could find what I needed to on the trader. New World has an annoying way to level crafting and stuff like that. And so in that game, I just got my stuff off the trader. So that's like a good example of an but that's that system, right? That's not what we're getting in Ashes. So
the pictures in our Discord, by the way, nice, of the island with the castle.
Let's see.
I got it up now while we're talking, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was a Steven leak. Okay. Interesting. That's sick.
Oh, not a node, but a guild castle. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. The island. I know it has that. I need but there was, what I'm trying to find is a I could have sworn Steven said something about it.
With 3 small subnodes. Oh, that's what that is on the outside? Those are subnodes? Okay. Interesting.
He said something about those islands. Yeah, I'm trying to look it up, chat. I could have sworn I saw something on it.
Viral said he's looking for the quote from Steven.
Perfect.
So we got people on it. That's part of the reason why doing these live streams are so much fun, because sometimes it's just consulting the wiki with 10 people to figure shit out. But yeah,
they're the voices of Verra.
Exactly. Yeah, my perspective on it is like they're creating the artisan trees by design to have scarcity, and like we talked about it in Discord I think last week, nice, but like the risk of getting vassaled for people that like artisan crafters is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not good because like you're spending all this time and effort into progressing your craft. If the node next to you goes up and goes up another level and they have access to higher level freeholds and higher level crafting and all this, uh, all of your effort is getting outsourced to the group next to you because people aren't going to go to you to have weapons made. They're going to go to the neighboring node. And so all the resources that you could have potentially made if you were the main node are then going to the next person. So this is why I talk about how this is like, it's going to be a resource race. It's going to be an experience race. It's going to be a land grab because your risk of not being like the main node means that all your stuff gets outsourced as well. And so then you have to do other things in order to, catch up.
I think, I don't know. I just feel like we're going to get our fix on the open seas.
I think so too.
This isn't the quote I was thinking about, but I'll show you guys while I'm reading it, chat. Let's see. Here we go. I'll read this. Steven says, there's an NPC structure that exists out in oceans. These take the form of sailing NPCs, fortresses, whether that be large frigate or galleon-based ships, and they take the form of raid bosses. They take the form of general sea-based NPCs. These treasures that you can find on land and explore out at sea as obviously one of the missions is why you would be going out to sea. There's escort missions that you can participate in. Some of those are straightforward and interact, but with an NPC to receive the quest for, and some of those have to be discovered at sea. So these are all things that make that type of area an MMO exciting. You just don't want to have water for water's sake. I love that quote. You don't want to have water because it's a different experience and content from a content perspective than what's on land. And just in order to be a different experience, you have just to have that content basically.
Sure.
Let me see. I know he spoke about these islands specifically before. Here, let me go to make sure chat's there. Generally, caravans, PvP, and I mean, caravans is what caravans. When I think of PvP and Ashes and what I'm excited for, yes, I mean the node sieges will be fun and cool and epic, and I can't wait to see them. Right?
Yes.
How you doing, Makashi? Welcome on in. How you doing, Arctic? What I'm really excited for what I predict my core gameplay loop being, and what PvP excites me the most, besides generalizing it like outnumbered PvP, that's gonna be bounty hunting and caravan PvP. Those two things to me sound like rewarding and meaningful PvP. Bounty hunter, just because you feel like you help the world out, and
yep.
It's like people's, maybe it's community service. Maybe if I upload a certain clip, or maybe if I go corrupted, I feel like, you know what? Let me pay my debt back and go help someone out, or go kill this corrupted guy. I don't know. But
sure.
I don't know. Stuff like that just sounds like a fun gameplay loop. What's the theme of this episode? We're pretty much still discussing the attacker versus caravan defender risk and stuff like that. Whatever the voices bring up. But right now I'm trying to search for I could have sworn Steven said something about those islands. Sullivan says, better hope the corruption system doesn't deter people so much there's nothing to hunt. Yep, and that's another reason people want the bounty hunter system to actually intertwine with the caravan PvP system, make the bounty hunters like the defenders to a certain extent. Because I got a feeling that most people, I mean, there's some people that are extremely scared of the world because PvP is on, think everyone's just going to be corrupted. It's going to be a gank box or whatever. But most of us that understand the vision understand that corruption is probably going to be super penalizing. And like he just alluded to, if it is super penalizing, he's saying that, if it's too penalizing, it's going to deter people to even go corrupted. So bounty hunters ain't going to have nothing to do. So hopefully there is a secondary aspect to bounty hunting.
Yeah, Nara brings up a good point that off talking about like your favorite gameplay loops, nice. I was gonna add this one on, but Nara said it first. Says guild and node wars could be fun too if they involve more than simply killing other people, but have actual objectives. Yeah, the guild wars are supposed to have objectives. So, and that was something I brought up in one of my videos last week as well. Is if a guild attacks your caravan, you can declare war on that guild, which means that anytime you run across that guild member in open world PvP or in the open world, it's kill on sight until you have your objective based mission that's supposed to happen. I don't know how many days later it's supposed to happen, but yeah, like you can have open field skirmishes without corruption penalties versus guilds. And so my belief is like my ability to generate gold in the game as it stands now is like I'm very interested in caravans, running caravans, defending them and attacking them depending on like what people in my area are doing. But then that also opens up the opportunity to just go to war with other guilds in the area. Like, okay, you attacked one of mine, let's box. Like this is what this game's gonna be. And it's super, like those are my two that I'm really looking forward to. I think node wars are gonna be so rare that like that's just gonna be like they're gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna try and get involved in as many as possible. But at the same time, like I doubt it's going to be so big that it's going to be a gameplay loop.
Solverin says, I don't think anyone who's PvP focused would be an endgame crafter. Rather, it makes more sense from a logistics perspective to be a gatherer for someone who's an endgame crafter. Yeah, I think you kind of want to go. I think so. Like when I used to like theorize what I'm going to do in Ashes of Creation, I'm like, oh, Ranger. Maybe I do gathering like a lumberjacking, right? Because I want to gather the materials to make my bow, and I want to be a weaponsmith or whatever would make woodworking, whatever it is, so I can like make that bow, and then I just got to find someone to process it at a freehold or something like that, or just buy those materials processed. It's no telling what people will want to do. A PvP focused person would probably like crafting. Maybe crafting is what yields the most money. You're literally making people's weapons. You got a friend that has a freehold. He gets the processing for you, so you get the processed materials very cheap, that high tier materials. And now you're crafting and you're making your money. Now you could take that gold, flip it, so you can make armor, make your own specialized weapons, and like I mean, because here's the thing: everyone needs to make gold. An end game PvPer, I mean, no, it doesn't matter. PvP has nothing to do with your artisan choice at all, in my opinion. I don't see how those two correlate.
I think I could be wrong, but he may be talking about time invested. Like you may be better served to invest time into harvesting and collecting resources than progressing a tree when you're a PvPer, because you're already going to want to do PvP loops. And maybe like I don't know. I'm probably just speaking for him, so I'll just let him continue. But yeah, maybe he means like if you're a PvPer, you probably don't have the time to also be like a grandmaster crafter and something else.
Gotcha.
But I could be wrong.
Like basically you got more chance to find PvP if you're out gathering. So I could see that logic. Yeah, I could see that logic. Like if I want to be out and find PvP more often, maybe being a lumberjack or maybe being in gathering professions, puts me out in the open world, so I have a chance to, run into some conflict. I could see that.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that too. I think this game's going to be all about getting groups with good optimization. Like one of my videos last week also was talking about optimization in this way. And yeah, you if you're not a good PvPer, if you're not good at participating in the caravan system, it very well could be profitable for you to outsource the caravan runs to people that run PvP. And you pay them for the extra amount that they generally yield off of winning more on caravan runs. And then you have that situation where if you're really into blacksmithing or another gameplay loop, you now don't have to take time out of your day to run caravans. Like you just profit more and you get to spend more time doing what you like. And so I think a lot of optimization will be happening that way. And I think a lot of groups are going to, I don't know. It'd be interesting to get a discussion like this nice with some of the bigger guilds that are already started, because they probably have game plans. It'd be fun to hear what they're working on, like what they plan to do once the server goes live. Like, hey, what are our guild members going to do? How are they going to go about doing things? Because I'm guessing that a lot of them already have like their crafting and professions kind of planned out.
Yes. Thank you for being here, Vertec. Appreciate it. Oh, he was saying the Vertec 100-man guilds are going to have PvP,
Oh, okay.
PvE, logistic, econ, and focus players, but they will still do those other activities. Oh, okay,
Oh, yeah.
gotcha.
Okay. Yep.
Arctic says, I don't really understand this conversation. Pure endgame is probably doing both. Early endgame, sure, it'll probably be specialized. Yeah, for sure. If you want PvP, just be a really bad spy. I'd say, so how do you initiate an attack on a caravan? Once scout gets close enough to the caravan, everyone needs to get in range to join. Yeah, I think everyone needs to get in range to join. I don't think they have the UI to where you can sign your group up for a caravan raid. I think you got to get within a certain radius and then sign up as an attacker. How the caravan system functions or coexist with the normal flag thing, I don't know. Like, can you be outside of that radius and attack someone, a defender of that caravan? Like, what happened? Someone asked that question. I was like, you know what? I actually don't know. Like, if you didn't sign up for a defender, you didn't sign up for an attacker, but you're attacking someone that's escorting that caravan, you're not an attacker. You didn't sign up for that objective. So in theory, you should just turn purple. And maybe, yeah, see, I don't know how that works. I assume if you're escorting a caravan, you're automatically flagged purple. So maybe that person that's not even participating in said event can still just walk by and attack you. I'll be honest with you, I don't know.
Take care, Vertec. You have a good night. Yeah, it's always just like we can always disagree. Like my opinion on you doesn't change if we disagree on something. Like I'm never gonna get mad at somebody for disagreeing with me or anything like that. Like we all have our different point of views. We have our own perspectives. We have our own
Facts.
we have our own favorite gameplay loops and how we like to go about doing things. That's all more than fine. Like
that's why we. And I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so sorry, else, but that's why we like you.
Yeah,
like I love, because here's the thing, and we're gonna keep holding Vertec up.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: we like that you voiced that opinion, because
exactly.
Else and I are used to being the minority of opinions, right? And you come in here, maybe most of our chat believes this certain thing, right? And you're still here standing 10 toes, like standing for your beliefs and like, hey, let's voice this. And as long as I think everyone does it like respectfully and we have this conversation, because that's all we have. None of us are playing the game, so all of our opinions are truly not that validated, right?
Yeah,
it's theory craft, and we're just spitballing back and forth. So
we're all talking out of our ass. Let's be honest. Like we don't know what the systems exactly are. It's just we're gleaning through monthly live streams and little hints and stuff of what things are. I very well could be wrong. I'm just like, you could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a middle ground and we're both wrong in certain ways. Like, who knows? Who knows?
There's some things we debate Steven on. Like, no, Steven, that's not how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're wrong about this one, Steven. I don't know why you think you know everything. Your opinions are worth 1.25 normal opinions. So I found that part of the wiki. I think this is the part that I was talking about, and I'm super excited. I don't know how to send this to you. You know what? Type in coastal/island nodes into the wiki. Maybe you can find it else. Actually, here, I can send you this page.
Check the Discord. Sorry. Viral linked the castle node in naval combat, if that's the one you're looking for.
So I wonder.
It's the bottom one.
And
then he also linked the two comments from Steven saying that the picture that we showed was a castle. That's actually a castle. So, and then I don't know if this is what you're looking for or not.
That might be the one I'm thinking about. I'm actually at something I don't think is that exact thing, but that is the one I was thinking of. But I found something different, because I don't think that quote is in this thing I'm looking at.
Okay,
I could be wrong. This one's more. Yeah, this one's not even that, but that's the one. I think that's the one I'm looking for. Yeah. So here, let me bring up this image, chat, because I don't think this is on the same page, or at least it's not there yet. Make sure I share my screen. So this is the quote that was just posted in Discord, and make sure you guys signed up or are in. I said signed up like it's a freaking subscription. In the Voices of Verra Discord. I have my own Discord. Else has his own Discord, but this is the more obviously Ashes focused one. If you guys want to ever chat with us in there.
I'll send it out in my chat. if you want to.
Perfect. If you want to paste it in mine, I'll pin it as well.
Sure.
So here's the quote here that was just posted in Discord. It says, "There's a castle located on an island that is only able to be affected by naval combat. Battles at sea will be epic. They will have supreme rewards and or losses if the battle succeeds or fails.
Yep.
Naval combat allows ships to be hijacked, destroyed, and looted, but it doesn't allow the attackers to permanently keep the ships. Question, will there be a way to produce enough experience for a node for those who want to spend the majority of their time on the open seas? The open seas have a good amount of content, and that content, when completed, will give its contribution to a nearby node." Ooh, coastal nodes are going to level up quick in theory. And that is something that people who live on the sea or desire to live in the sea will be able to contribute in a way. So if you set up a blockade in, I guess, a coastal region of your node, maybe that will be something smart. Like you just intercept all caravans in that area, or just get a lot of kills in that area. Don't allow anyone to land, and those kills and all that will contribute to your node. That's an interesting concept. So I found this fun section. I was briefly reading on the wiki, and I'll read it to you guys. This isn't the one I was looking for. I think the quote I just read is the one I was thinking of, but I found this. It's coastal/island nodes. There will be nodes along the coast and on islands. The nodes will have specific water-oriented influences, services, and quest lines that relate to the seas. There is a healthy amount of sea content within the coastlines of the continents that does not fall into the open sea area. So what I'm thinking this is alluding to is that you can go on the water, like kind of right near your node. It's not like as soon as you touch the water, you're PvP. You know, I think there's like a little certain border of water you have to cross, and then it's like the PvP flagged zone. And within these, you know, non-flagged zones of water, like really close to the coast, I'm assuming that's when you're gonna start getting the warnings, or there's gonna be like a visible line, like, hey, once you cross this, you know, it's fair game. Coastal nodes change the spawn tables of the nearby water content and can also trigger specific events. So if you have a metropolis node, maybe that's when the Hydra or this amazing epic world boss spawns. I think that could be really cool to see. I think you really would. My dream is a coastal military node. I'd be such a happy camper.
Imagine.
Coastal nodes are not directly siegeable by sea. I think we've read that on stream before.
Yeah.
This quote, I don't know if we've read this before. Yeah, this is the one about sieging nodes. Yeah, I think the one that I let's see, it's like you might have harbor, and so that's the direction we move towards. Yeah, that one's not really worth reading too much. Island chains are a part of Ashes of Creation's naval content. Some interesting stuff. I wonder with, I mean, I'm just glad that we got to see the what do you call it? The raft in the recent caravan stream.
Floating in the river. Yeah.
Yeah, just to see like where they're at with their water mechanics.
It looked good. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
Underwater stuff? That's crazy, man.
Yeah, underwater mounts, apparently.
They even had that in Alpha 1, I think, the underwater mounts. I could be wrong. Do you guys
I remember seeing them on live stream.
Yeah. It's crazy. You know, they had so much done in Alpha 1.
Yeah.
Like so much done. I wonder how much of that really carried over, or if they really completely just restarted most of the game come Unreal Engine 5, which is what I sometimes theorize. I really wonder. Like obviously he was able to keep some assets, but man, so much of Alpha 1 was done. I wonder how much it actually carried over.
Are there boats for rivers? There should be boats that can go up the rivers.
Just the naval caravans. I think they said specifically in the for rivers.
Yep. Yeah, because a lot of the I was listening to the Chaos and Lace live stream, but yeah, like it doesn't logistically make sense that you have an open ocean faring ship that can also go into rivers. Like the boat, it's got too big of a hull basically, and so yeah, like you'll have the smaller caravan boats that can do it, but like the bigger galleons and stuff, like you're not going to be able to take them on rivers.
Wildfire says, "Damn, we can't keep them." Talking about the ships, shuts down his plans for a naval 401k. BM says,
A rowboat should be fine.
"Yeah, I had old school Ultima Online on the brain where we'd steal someone's castle and sell it for real money. Let's go." Wildfire says, "Down here in Puerto Rico, we have this massive coastal fortress called El Morro. My goal is to replicate that in Ashes."
Oh
Yeah,
man.
Guild Wars 2 has some good underwater content. Weirdly enough, like that game has a lot going on. Not sure how much a greatsword can do real damage underwater. I wonder if they'll do like Guild Wars 2 where there'll be like actual underwater weapons. I think you can equip like a harpoon and stuff, something like that. BM says, so is Underrealm basically like the Underdark from D&D? I'm not too well versed in D&D.
Kind of, yeah. The way I've interpreted it, yes. I've only seen part of a video. They haven't shown it in a while. I do think we're going to be getting an Underrealm live stream relatively soon. Now that you bring it up, because they showed that picture. What was it, in October?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be highly surprised if they even had the Underrealm ready come Alpha 2 launch. I'd be highly surprised. Yeah, like they'll be working on it, but like we won't be able to access it. That yeah, Surgeon said won't be on Alpha 2 release. Yeah, I'd be super surprised. Because I think a lot of the Underrealm is going to connect with such a large part of the world that if we're only starting Alpha 2 in theory with 3 biomes, like,
yeah,
having you'd have to like have a certain, like a cave in at a certain part. So it's just literally a cutoff. I don't know. It's like a lot of work.
Well, and you have to think logistically too. Like if you were trying, and I'm not a developer, and I'll probably sound like an idiot to any developer that's listening to this, but if you're bringing in a bunch of people, like you probably want to like release so many areas at one, like you don't want to release too many spots because then you're unlocking potentially too many bugs. Like, hey, let's figure out a few here, and then we'll slowly like branch out. Like once we feel like this is good and tested, maybe we'll open up another one. But yeah, like we don't want, it's stretching the developers thin too to work on all the different bug fixes that could happen in those areas. So I think that makes sense.
Irish, once again, thank you for the channel membership. Says, just stopping in to say nice and else are always right. Everyone else shut the F up. Thank you, dude.
Appreciate it, man. It's not true, but yes, thank you. That's awesome.
All right, I guess we can call it here unless you want to sneak another one in.
You know what's funny is we didn't finish reading Lineker's post.
We sure did not. Let's finish Lineker's post. What if he watches this later and like, God dang, he's like skipping forward, like they have not went back to the post. They still have not. Here, let's finish that one before we head out, chat. Let's see, where do I have
I'd feel bad reading like the first 4 paragraphs, and then we're like, oh yeah, islands, PvP. Like we literally just galaxy brained the shit out of this. we're normally better than this, guys, I promise.
We at least still have it up in the background. So I completely had it off my screen, just moved on. I'm over here scrolling the wiki. How did we get here? I blame the voices of Verra.
That's funny.
Warrior says, but I just got here. It's okay. We got starting to finish.
We're starting.
We're only halfway through, apparently. Okay, so he's let's see.
I think it's even now in 2024. That paragraph is where we're at.
Okay, perfect. All right. Here, let me F11 this. There we go. All right. Even now in 2024 with Raven Dawn, an indie MMO that has launched has this same system. Delivering packs getting a percentage bonus based on distance traveled. People do it all the time and again, from solos to large guilds, more often than not. And every 5 trips, maybe you lose 1 or 2, and that's still that is still worth it. That's what we were alluding to before. Like, as long as you eventually break even after a couple of failures, it's more than worth it.
Yep.
Especially when a lot of players do them with groups to reduce the risk, and you don't see everyone walk around in a massive Zerg destroying every caravan all the time. They are better off not wasting time and doing their own caravan if they have the numbers so they can min-max their profit. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
So walking around with 12 people looking for caravans to destroy, in that time you could have been running your own and made profit. Like, it just makes more sense. Unless it was a smaller map with more choke points, then it's like, okay, let's talk.
Yeah. So really quickly, nice. Just to piggyback off that before you start reading. we did mention it before, and then I realized not everybody plays ESO. But guys, there's this area in ESO where it's called Imperial City. And long story short, they have world bosses in each district. And if you kill a boss by yourself with the max multipliers, with nobody else around taking hits, what is it, 18k? Is it 18k per? So you get 18,000 Telvar if you kill it by yourself. If you go into a 24-man group with the same multipliers, you get like 200 or 250 or something like that. So it's one of those things where like players will go in grouped up based off of their skill level. Like you'll see it doesn't happen as much anymore because characters have gotten so powerful, but you used to see 24-man groups running around down there like farming Telvar, like hey, we're going to do this because that's what they needed. They needed 24 people, but their overall value was so low, which is kind of what Lineker is talking about here. Like your risk versus reward situation as far as a caravan runner is like, yeah, you can run with these larger groups, but you may be more incentivized to do it with a smaller group because you'll just yield more profit.
He goes on to say, also, you don't need to worry about no one helping you defend your caravan. First, this is supposedly a group content that you need to make friends, get in a guild, make allies, and arrange to run important caravans together. But also, defending caravans in your region happens naturally. In AOC, your reputation matters a lot more than in most MMOs. This is a region-based game. The meta. The most effective way to play is not by being on everyone's kill on sight list within your own region. Well said.
Yep.
So you can actually farm and progress. Players will naturally fight off foreign attackers in their own territory, and that's where all the pug defenders will come from. Your neighbor citizens helping to keep your node region safe. And of course, players will go assault caravans from different nodes. In a territory versus territory style gameplay, there is no reason to assume AOC will be different from every other game with similar systems that we've had before.
Absolutely.
Well said. There is no extra risk needed for attackers in AOC. The risk versus reward doesn't come in the form of everything being 50-50. With the caravan system, the reward is delivering the caravans, and the risk is getting attacked by people. That is such a simple statement, and people are not grasping that. They're not worried. They're just looking at, oh, I might lose everything. They're not looking at the dang profit that they would make if they're not destroyed. It's just like, no, let's focus on the negative thing that can happen, not the good thing that can happen. It's mind-boggling, but it's just a matter of perspective and outlook, right? Different people have different mindsets. He goes on to say, and the game needs those attackers. People can't be safely running caravans all day long. This would be extremely negative for the economy. Yes. There are sinks associated with caravan parts being destroyed, and loot is sunk when players open crates. All this adds to the economy. Now, if we want to talk about playing with respawn timers, this is something I talked about in my video. Impacting caravan attacker / defender progress tree by losing XP in the horizontal progression when failing events. That's great and should be tested in Alpha 2. But introducing corruption to caravans? Oh, who said that? Oh my gosh. Anyways, or introducing even more new systems like a bandit status. Things like that with developers getting their fingers on systems that are supposed to be player driven. That is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
But again, by looking at some of the feedback, most players who have these concerns about the system not working seem to be players who haven't experienced similar systems before, and that's understandable. It's okay to not have experience on every single aspect about MMOs. The thing is, especially when you are a content creator, sharing baseless input on things like that with dramatic thumbnails and titles will often just result in followers echoing those and creating unnecessary concerns. Now, of course, most content creators do it because it gets more people commenting and getting them views. But if you get caught in these discussions before pressing the panic button, I'd recommend just relax. Wait for Alpha 2, test things out, and see for yourself. Holy crap, who's he?
I don't know who he's targeting.
Hey, you and I are essentially. There might be some others that's pro. Kind of keep it as is for the most part. But he's got someone on his mind for sure.
I read this comment and I had to respond in here, and I was like, hey man, it's not all of us. I'm just saying it's not all of us. I was like, I'm not saying that this will not need to be adjusted. We don't know exactly how the system entails, but yeah, like here's how I see it. And I don't mean this to be a spicy take. I think I think the same thing existed last year during the freehold debate. I think the same thing existed the year before with the entire Lucky Ghost situation with what he did with wanting PvE servers. There are some people with very legitimate concerns about the system, and I'm not talking about you guys. Okay, like there's no, I'm not talking about you guys at all. About what this is. I think there's also some people that just don't like PvP, and any chance that they can get to be anti PvP on a PvP system, they jump at the opportunity to pile on in these situations to get it changed. And I'm not saying everybody's this way. I want to be clear. Like everybody in here that I've seen, you've had very, like, even if you disagree with me, you've had very legitimate arguments and complaints and points of view, and we just disagree, and that's okay. Yeah. Like it's okay to disagree, but we have to also understand that there are players out there that literally want to change how this game works before like we even get to test it. And and that's the annoying part about some of these discussions is some of these players are doing this, and it's just like, come on, guys, like this is the way the game is. Like, let's at least test it before we actually get things to go live.
Facts. All facts. The Fourth Realm says, I have no life. Your live stream should last 5 hours. Fourth Realm also says, in the end of his second to last paragraph, he seems to really talk about a content creator in particular. Yeah, he does.
I don't know who I sincerely don't know who he's talking about, guys. I'm not sure.
I wonder if someone ask him in this thread. But then again, I mean, I think I saw most content creators kind of echo the same sentiment. So I don't know specifically who, but I mean, there's a couple he could be talking about, I guess. Yeah, and it's crazy how like everyone did like the same video. Dude, so just to kind of give a timeline, I thought I was so unique for that topic. I didn't see no one talking about it because I was in the office hours chat. Well, I told you the story already, but I was in the office hours chat and it was brought up. I was like, I'm gonna do a video on it. And then I think I cut the audio out of my first video and I was like, I'll just use that, redo the intro. I post a video on that subject. Narc posts a video, I think
hour later.
I was like, what? I was like, what the hell are the chances? I was like, no way. There's no freaking way. I think he had the opposite feeling of me. I don't remember, and then I think Zillion's went out the night before or that same night. I can't remember, but then I saw Zillion had a video, and then I saw someone else the next day had a video. I'm like, oh, okay, so I thought I found some niche thing to talk about, but it's the hot topic.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, like, even Zillion's post, like, he brought up concerns, and then at the end, he's like, I think this should be looked at in alpha too. It's like, yeah. Absolutely. Like, like I may disagree with like what you like. I'm not saying what he's saying is right or wrong, but yeah, like let's look at it in alpha too. And so that's why, like, when I was reading his post, Lineker's post here, I'm like, man, who are you talking about? Because I don't know.
AA Ron gets the last topic. He says decoy caravans go.
Gonna exist.
I think they are gonna exist. I'm trying to figure out how efficient they'll actually be.
Yeah.
I guess a decoy caravan could act as a scout, so in that sense, it could be pretty beneficial. Maybe you give that, because that sounds like a hell of a waste of a time. So maybe you would at least fill it with something, and then if it gets hit, it's like only 5% of what you were planning to run, and you got the other 95% waiting confirmation that trip and that route was successful. So in that sense, it could be good, like a large guild doing that. Maybe you give your low B ranked members like, okay, this is part of your initiation, or like, hey, until you rank up, you're responsible for being our scout. You're responsible for pre-running this secret route that we have in our Discord. This is going to be our go-to route to our node that we're all citizens in. You're gonna run that route. Let us know if you've seen anybody or if you were attacked and if it was successful. So yeah, you can make decoy crates as well. See, that would be a really big thing for guilds to do. I could definitely see guilds doing it. And maybe you don't wait till they make it to the end of the destination, but you have your caravan probably launched, like your real caravan launch 5-ish minutes after them. So you're like trailing them. So if anybody gets hit, they would be the ones that get hit first.
So real quick, Okay, I'm asking everybody here if this can be confirmed. Narer over here saying the attackers can see if the caravan is full or empty. So you
Yes,
have
it
to,
has visual
but
cues.
you queue in for the event, and then it'll show, or can you see
No,
it from outside of there?
the caravans have visual components, so you can like kind of you can see what they're carrying. But also, like Warrior says, I think you can make decoy crates as well. But
Okay,
yeah, caravans have a lot of visual components, including not only the cargo they're hauling, but their upgrades as well. So you're gonna be able to tell if they have the good tires. You're gonna be able to tell if they got that what do you call it, repulsor blast slotted, probably stuff like that.
okay. Trying
AA
to
Ron
see
says,
what
I
you're
would
saying,
think to
Sovereign.
have one caravan go east while the other goes west, two separate destinations. See, if I was going to do a decoy caravan, I wouldn't just send one in the opposite direction I don't plan on running. I'd send a decoy caravan in the route that I planned on running to that node to make sure it's safe.
I
I mean, I guess if you just want to be a legit distraction and waste people's time, I guess, but I think the way I said would be more efficient.
how the reason I would send decoy caravans is if I knew one route was highly getting attacked and assaulted, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it very well, and I knew like people are like, yeah, there's raiders here, they're raiding all the time. I would send out a decoy caravan with PvPers to just go get a fight, and like if we lose, we don't lose any resources, we lose the
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
of the
yeah.
caravan. And so literally you can just waste people's time that way. Like we still get the
Mm-hmm.
PvP we want. Yeah, sure, come
Yep.
raid the caravan. We
I
get
like
our
that.
PvP. And then after a while, they're like, hey guys, like we're not getting any shit over here anymore. They're just sending empty caravans. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can open up the caravan route to caravan runners.
Oh, we're gonna do so many bait caravans when
Oh
we're
yeah.
broke, but we want a PvP. Just sit at the middle of a choke point, like,
Oh
huh?
yeah.
Sure hope no one attacks us.
I'm tying my shoes over here.
Oh, got a flat. My caravan got a flat. Oh, that'd be funny.
But yeah, that's the main way I would use decoys. I would use it as a way to waste attackers' time. You want them
Yeah.
to spend as much time not collecting resources so that they go, hey, can we do some? Should we do something else? And that's the perfect thing to do with a decoy caravan, in my opinion.
Warrior says, if you watch the caravan live stream, not the PvP one, the other caravan that Bucky was running was visually empty. That's true. The really slow caravan he was on. Crash, how you doing? Welcome on in. No, we had no good talk tonight. We're gonna go ahead and end it because we couldn't find any good talk. Crash. Now I'm playing. Yeah, so yeah, it was a fun one. Deception is the name of the game. Heavily armed fakes. Yeah. Or you could lose both caravans because the caravan is on the same route. No, I mean like the example I was saying earlier. So if I'm in a big guild and we want to do decoy caravans, we're gonna run the same route. I'm gonna send out the decoy to scout the area. 3 minutes later, 5 minutes later, I'm gonna run my real caravan behind that one. And then
Yeah.
I'll get a heads up because I'm in Discord comms with the person like, oh, dude, I'm going past so many people where, oh, dude, they just attacked me out of nowhere. And that's the way that would work. Awesome. Thank you, Crash. But all right, we'll go ahead and end it here. This has been episode 33 of Ashes of Creation, the Voices of Verra. Stay tuned. We may have someone to raid. I don't know. Let me see.
I can take a peek here. It's always hit or miss. Like I keep waiting for Vladis to hop on one of these Tuesdays.
Right?
Okay, I'm not seeing one.
Yeah. Let's see.
Just me and you.
Yeah.
Viral says I'll
But
fire up my stream. Go for it, man.
go for it.
If you're not joking, I will absolutely raid you right here. So
Why doesn't Else use a webcam? His face.
yeah, I actually look like an actual bridge troll, guys. So no, I'm no, we're so home stuff. We're looking at moving into a new house, and I don't like this current office setup for like it's right by my girls' room, and so I kind of want to have an office a little bit away from them. When we move into our new house, which we're looking for one right now, I'll be getting a webcam. So later this year.
Nice. But once again, thank you guys so much. Channel memberships, likes, subs, donations. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for always being here. Thank you for making these so fun and interactive. Thank you for being such a good chat that we literally forget to finish Lineker's post midway through reading it, and it's even when it's a great post.
We're like, it's a great
Um,
post. Oh, island PvP. Oh, that's funny.
that's funny. Like usually I go back and I chapter some of the live streams, but this one I wouldn't know how to do it, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna just leave it as is because we were all over the place. What else? Chat, if you guys want Elsa's cam and you don't feel like waiting, at least help me peer pressure him for the hand cam so we can see his Azeron.
Oh, for the Azeron, yeah.
Fox comes back out of nowhere. Oh, okay, never mind. That's an old comment that just popped up for some reason. So on my screen, I forgot I paused my restream, and so it was like showing old comments. And it's the comment from Fox saying, "Not sure esports should be in an MMO." I'm like, really, dude? That's your take? You want to circle back to the esports conversation? But all right. This has been episode 33. Shout out to Is There No One Else? I have been Nice Gaming, and we could not do this without you, the voices of Verra. See you guys every Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. Thank you so much. Peace.
See you guys.